There is a person in your life who is confidently, consistently, spectacularly wrong about almost everything. They argue with experts, they dismiss evidence, they explain things to people who know far more than they do, and they have absolutely no idea how little they actually know. You know exactly who I'm talking about. But here's the uncomfortable part of this video. The research on this phenomenon, one of the most well-studied effects in all of psychology, suggests that you might also be that person in a different area, in a way you genuinely cannot see. That's what we're going to talk about today. In 1999, two psychologists, David Dunning and Justin Kruger, ran a series of experiments at Cornell University. They tested people on logic, grammar, and humor. Then they asked each person to estimate how well they did compared to everyone else. The results were striking. The people who performed worst consistently believed they had performed well above average. The people who performed best consistently underestimated themselves. In other words, the less you know, the more confident you feel. And the more you know, the more you realize how much you don't. Stay with me because later in this video, I'm going to give you a specific test. Not a quiz, not a trick. A genuine psychological method to check whether you are affected by this in an area of your own life. Most people who watch this video won't like what they find. Here's why this happens, and it's not because stupid people are arrogant. To accurately judge how good you are at something, you need two things: the actual skill and the ability to evaluate that skill. But here's the problem. Both of those things require the same underlying knowledge. If you don't know enough about a topic to be good at it, you also don't know enough to recognize that you're not good at it. David Dunning described it this way: the skills you need to produce the right answer are exactly the skills you need to recognize what a right answer is. So the incompetent person isn't choosing to be overconfident. They genuinely cannot see their own incompetence. The knowledge required to identify the gap is the same knowledge that would fill it. This is not stupidity in the lazy sense. This is a structural blindness. Your brain cannot show you what it doesn't know exists, and that applies to everyone, including you, including me. The Dunning Kruger effect follows a very specific pattern that researchers have mapped out in 4 stages. Stage 1. You know nothing about a topic, and because you know nothing, you don't even know what you don't know. Your confidence is actually quite low here. Blissful ignorance rather than arrogant ignorance. Stage 2. You learn a little, just enough to feel like you're getting it, and here, right here, is the danger zone. Psychologists call this the peak of Mount Stupid. You have just enough knowledge to feel confident, but nowhere near enough to be right. This is where most people get stuck. They learn the basics, feel like experts, and stop learning. Stage 3. You learn more. And the more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. As your confidence drops sharply. This is the valley of despair, the point where genuinely smart people often feel the most uncertain. Stage 4. Real expertise. Your confidence rises again, but this time it's grounded. You know what you know what you don't, and crucially, you know the difference. Most people who are dangerous are stuck at stage 2. They climb the peak of Mount Stupid and planted a flag. You see the Dunning Kruger effect everywhere once you know what to look for. The person who watched 3 YouTube videos about nutrition and now corrects doctors. The person who read 1 book about investing and is now giving financial advice. The person who took a 2-week online course and now calls themselves an expert. The first-year student who argues with the professor. The new employee who already knows how to fix the entire company. None of these people are bad. They're just at stage 2. They know enough to feel certain, but not enough to know how uncertain they should be. But here's what makes this so difficult to spot in yourself. When you are at stage 2, you feel exactly the same as you would feel at stage 4. The internal experience of false confidence and real confidence are identical. You cannot feel the difference from the inside, which is exactly why the most dangerous words in any argument are, "I've done my research. Now, the test I promised you." This isn't a trick question. It's a genuine method psychologists use to identify Dunning-Kruger susceptibility in everyday thinking. Pick a topic you feel confident about, something you'd be willing to argue about. Politics, nutrition, business, relationships, parenting, whatever feels most natural. Now answer these 3 questions honestly. 1. Can you name 3 serious, credible people who disagree with your position and explain their actual argument, not a dismissive version of it? 2. Has your view on this topic ever significantly changed based on new information, or has it remained basically the same for years? 3. When someone challenges your view, is your first instinct to consider their point or to find a reason they're wrong? If you answered no to question 1, no to question 2, and find a reason to question 3, you are very likely at stage 2 on that topic. And the uncomfortable truth is that almost everyone answers this way about at least one thing, including the smartest people you know, including you. So, what do you do with this? First, I treat confidence as a warning signal, not a destination. When you feel very certain about something, that feeling itself should make you pause. Real expertise almost always comes with awareness of complexity. If something feels simple and obvious, ask yourself whether you've actually gone deep enough to see why it might not be. Second, actively seek out the strongest version of the opposing argument, not the stupidest version, the strongest. If you can't steelman the other side, can't articulate their best argument in a way they'd actually agree with, you don't understand the topic well enough to be confident about it. Third, stay a student. The people least affected by Dunning Kruger are not the smartest people. They are the most curious people, the ones who treat every conversation as a potential source of information rather than an opportunity to demonstrate what they already know. The goal is not to become uncertain about everything. The goal is to become accurately calibrated, to know what you know what you don't, and to hold the two of them clearly apart. The smartest thing you can do after watching this video is not to go and identify everyone around you who has this problem. It's to go back to that test and actually sit with what you found. Because the fact that you're watching a video about this suggests you're already more self-aware than most. But self-awareness without honesty is just a more sophisticated form of the same trap. Subscribe! We break down one psychology concept every week. No fluff. Stick figures, small words. See you in the next one.